everyone, welcome back to Crystal Lee Chan's channel. It is me, Crystal Lee, and welcome to another Chance or Chat. Chance or Chats pretty much are reflective life questions and topics that we like to talk about on this channel to help bridge the gap between the life that we are living to the life that we want. And today's topic is meal prepping for a better mindset. I've been meal prepping for a good period of my life since graduating high school, and I think there are some really good tips and benefits to meal prepping that I want to share with you today. So with that said, let's get into it. Grab your coffee, your tea, your water to hydrate, whatever you want. Sit down, let's get cozy because we're about to get into it. I first learned about meal prepping after an accident that I had after graduating high school. During the healing from that accident, I found a love of weightlifting, and then later on I found a love of meal prepping. Doing research on how to be a better weightlifter, I saw that people really weightlift and meal prep as a job. They get paid to be strong and they get paid to eat. Eating is a part of their nutrition and a part of the reason why they can lift very, very heavy, and it essentially is a job. I found that what they were prepping were really bland foods like chicken and broccoli and oatmeal and eggs, and they weren't really flavorful. Some competitors or some weightlifters did have flavorful food, but predominantly I found what was called as a bro diet to be the most effective diet when lifting. Because my love of weightlifting came recovering from an accident, I found solace in lifting, and I found even more control in prepping my food. As I got more into meal prepping and weightlifting, I spiraled down the internet black hole of nutritionists or weightlifters or bodybuilders who really thought they knew everything. And I learned about macros, calories in, calories out, micronutrients. I learned about metabolic rate of burning calories. I learned about how to eat for your specific body type. There was so much information out there that I really did get overwhelmed. I did continue weightlifting throughout college, where I actually discovered powerlifting, which is a sport where there's just three main lifts, and people really train their whole life for three main lifts and competitions. But the nutrition with powerlifting was even more strict and had to be even more timely, and eat at certain times and eat a certain amount for optimal strength. And I went down that wormhole and I got even more overwhelmed with meal prepping. I loved meal prepping, but it turned into a burden and something that felt like a chore. And then I even felt guilty. I fell to the guilt of eating meat all the time because I wanted to eat for strength, and I decided to try veganism at some point. And even though you can get the sufficient amount of protein you need for veganism, I was still trying to eat for my body type. Well, I learned to be a body type that needs more protein than carbs or fat. So I was eating a lot of protein, and then eating vegan-based protein ended up being very costly for me. And that was just another overwhelming factor playing into something I used to really love that turned out that made it something I didn't love anymore. From 2019 up until a month ago, I stopped meal prepping because it just wasn't fun anymore, and the solace that I found in it just became another burden onto my life. As dramatic as that sounds, that is what happened. As I am healing, I am literally reverting back to things that used to make me happy and incorporating them in a way that's healthy for me now. Meaning that before, I did meal prepping as a way to control a piece of my life because I felt so out of control with this accident that I had, and it was great. However, I work in extremes, and that's the reason why I kept trying to control it with all the information that I was getting. Instead of just keeping it simple and keeping it something that I love, I overly controlled it because I needed to find some control in my life at that time. So now when I'm healing, I'm finding a way to have balance with everything that I do. And you can't always find balance in everything that you do, but having the intention to be balanced is really good. And that's my intention, to be balanced in all that I do. So in getting back into meal prepping, I'm learning how to be intentional with it and to use it for my benefit, for a better life and for a better mindset. And I wanted to share those tips with you. I know meal prepping is a part of a huge family and community of lifters, of gym goers, or of dieters. But I think there are simple tips that have nothing to do with nutrition or food that will help somebody to use meal prepping to benefit their life like it's benefited me. And I just wanted to share that. The first tip I have when it comes to meal prepping is to know why you're doing it, to know the intention behind it. Like I said, from For me now, my intention behind meal prepping is for my mindset. We have thousands of thoughts per day, and for me, taking the thought out of what I'm eating for the day helps me tremendously, because I can get in what I would call a thinking stall, a thought stallment, a stalemate of thinking. A stalemate of subconscious. I would get so stuck in figuring out what I want to eat that I will literally starve because I can't figure it out, or I can't choose. Or I would just eat junk food and then feel really, really sluggish and really disgusting afterwards. I love eating food that I made because I know what's in it. I know the amount of that's in it, and they're very nutritiously filling items. So my intention is to just take the burden off of thinking what I need to eat. I'm also currently in a small deficit because I am doing a challenge just to get my body moving and eating a little bit better to further help my mindset. Because when you're eating better and you're moving, it definitely plays a big role in your mental health. And so my intention is to keep my body moving, to eat well, and to eat well, I need to plan ahead to do so. That is my intention. It's so important to know why you're doing the things that you're doing. Meal prepping aside, intention goes a long way. So, first rule, know why you're doing it. Why are you meal prepping? Is it because you've seen it and people say it's good, just in general for losing weight? Are you doing it because you just want to have prep meal because it's easier for you with a busy schedule? All that kind of questioning should go or should pass through your head when you are figuring out why you want to meal prep. My second step when it comes to meal prepping is to keep it simple. If you're finding that it's becoming a burden, or you're dreading doing it, or it's taking too much time, maybe dial it down a little bit. If the thought of it just overwhelms you, figure out ways for it not to overwhelm you. For me, it was completely quitting for a good 2 years. Good 2 years, just stopping it, recalibrating, and then going back in it. Are you making a whole bunch of extravagant meals that take time, effort, and more money? If that's the case, then you should, dial it back a bit, or maybe meal prepping isn't for you, and that's fine. You tried it, but if something isn't bringing you joy and it isn't making your life more efficient, then it's okay to stop or not do it at all. But meal prepping should be simple. It should be a way to just unburden you from another choice in your life. It should be a way for you to have healthy meals right at your fingertips because you prepared it. My next tip is to leave room for cravings and deviations. For me, I realized that I love to control things to the T, but I can't control my taste buds or my cravings because I can't control, when Mother Nature hits me, or just who I'm gonna be on a Monday versus a Tuesday. Like what I'm going to want for myself that day. So I would meal prep to a T from meals and snacks. I would literally meal prep for a whole week, 7 days. And food starts getting bad after like day 4. And I was like, yeah, I'll be good for 7 days. By day 4 of the food that I prepared, I started realizing that I want something different. I want something different. I don't want to eat the same. I don't want to eat this anymore. I'm ready to move on to another set of meals by day 4. And also during the other days, I was craving other things, like maybe something sweet, maybe something a little bit more salty. And having a strict limitation on what I could eat was very horrible for my mental health, because you shouldn't restrict yourself and you shouldn't limit yourself, especially when it comes to food. Food is nourishing to the body. You need it to survive, and putting limitations on something that you need to survive can have detrimental effects on you and your mental health. So when you leave room for deviations and cravings, you allow yourself to still eat very nutritiously and stick to the plan that you want, but also to have fun and deviate every now and again. I don't mean like deviate like throwing out all of your meals. I just mean like deviate from like that meal to satisfy your taste buds at that moment. So keep some snacks on hand of something that you may want. And then I can also talk about cravings being stress cravings and how you should like deal with stress and the need to eat when you're stressed, and so you don't stick to a meal plan. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that because That's a whole new video within itself and a whole new set of tips. But leave room for deviations and cravings. Allow yourself to eat things that you want to eat in that moment, and don't make yourself feel bad if you just deviate from a plan or from the meals that you made. And my last tip when it comes to diving into the world of meal prepping is to do what makes you happy. Do what works for you. These tips are what worked for me, and although we really love to think that we're all individualistic, there are some behaviors and thought processes that we have that are pretty much the same. And so if these tips work for me, I want to share them in case they work for you. But if they don't, that's fine. Do what works for you. And that in doing that, we'll have some trial and error. So again, if you get into meal prepping and you don't like it and it feels like a burden more than like a holy grail or a solace or a safe place, then stop doing it if it doesn't work for you. Meal prepping isn't for everyone. There's so much information out there, and it can be very overwhelming. People telling you do this, do that. This is a surefire way to lose weight, to gain weight, to be stronger, to have a better mindset. Like, I don't know, like me. There's so many rules and people who are very like steadfast in telling you what to do. Check in with yourself and make sure that you're doing it for you, and that you're happy doing it for you, and you're doing it the way that you want to do it because it's best for you. How many times have I said you in the sentence in this past like 30 seconds? I don't know, but I mean it. I hope that this video has helped you in any way, shape, or form. If you meal prep, let me down below. Let me know what your favorite meals are to meal prep, and maybe give me a recipe or two, because I'm always dying for more recipes. If you have any questions about meal prepping and where pretty much to start, even though these tips are very simple, they're not really like where to start with cooking or different recipes or just what's the best meals to cook for meal prep, ask down below. I will try to help you as much as I can. Having certain efficiencies in your life like meal prepping really helps take the burden off some choices in your life. It helps me, and I hope it helps you, and I hope you find the benefit in meal prepping if you are trying. It gives you a chance to really live a life that you want in the way that you want it, and that's fucking beautiful. Until next time, bye.